everyone, welcome to this update video this morning. I really hope you're doing well. So you may be a little bit on the edge because of Hurricane BERYL, especially if you're one of my fellow Jamaicans. It is coming today. Today is probably going to be a day that goes down in our history books in the realm of hurricanes to impact the island. So very dangerous impacts are expected, especially in the late morning to the afternoon hours. That could be the worst of BERYL. So we're going to be looking at the latest forecasts as of this morning. But I want to hear from you. How have you prepared for Hurricane BERYL? So if you're in Jamaica, even if you're in the Cayman Islands, which are also under a hurricane warning, you can let me know. How have you prepared for Hurricane BERYL? So you can share that with me down in the comments. Now, as we look at the satellite imagery here, we can see that the monster is barreling towards the island of Jamaica. So we can see all that activity associated with it. But of course, BERYL is not looking the absolute best, especially compared to yesterday or even the day before, because it is moving into an area of more unfavorable environmental conditions. However, we're still talking about a strong Category 4 hurricane. It hasn't weakened much, and sustained winds are up to 145 miles per hour with those stronger gusts, of course. So BERYL is likely to make its way into the vicinity of Jamaica as a Category 4 hurricane as it is now. And there are some impacts in Jamaica that have already started. Some thunderstorms, some periods of heavy rain, even the winds kicking up a bit, and also offshore, especially for the eastern parishes, it's likely that the seas are quite unsettled. So the outer bands of BERYL are making their way within the vicinity of Jamaica, and conditions will only continue to deteriorate as we head throughout the morning. And of course, the worst of it is going to be in the late morning, headed to the afternoon hours for Jamaica. So again, there is that curfew island-wide, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. today. And, in addition to that, some preparations are being finalized this morning. So, for some places, for example, in my community, there are persons who are battening down this morning, which is, good to ensure that, you have these things done ahead of the storm. And as we look at the satellite imagery going a bit further out here within the vicinity of the Windward Islands, this is the tropical wave I talked about in my update video late last night to early this morning, so the one prior to this. So I talked about the fact that this system here, Invest 96L, was not expected to develop. However, it could bring those periods of heavy rain and thunderstorms across the Windward Islands. So we have seen an increase in activity for that system, and as it is going to be continuing to the west through today, it is going to unleash said impacts. So that is definitely something that is happening. Again, not an organized system, and it only has a very low chance of development. So development of it is unlikely. But as it relates to BERYL now, let's go on to the cone forecast. So as of this morning, as I said, BERYL is sustaining winds at 145 miles per hour, and it is moving to the west-northwest at 20 miles per hour. So there is still that tropical storm warning in effect for parts of southern Hispaniola, but as BERYL continues to make its way to the west-northwest, eventually that will be discontinued since impacts would have decreased. But there have been tropical storm-like impacts in parts of southern Haiti and southern Dominican Republic as well. Even those winds kicking up, the plethora of heavy rain, maybe even some flooding across some areas. And for Jamaica, it is going to be those impacts on an exacerbated level because of just how strong it is and how much closer BERYL is going to be to the island. So there is still a chance of landfall today, meaning that the eye could move onshore. But even if it doesn't, it will be just south of the island, and that is not going to make a crazy difference because, if it is just offshore, then, the eye wall of BERYL would still impact the island significantly with those very dangerous impacts, those strong hurricane force winds, all of the heavy rain expected. And then, of course, the coastal flooding could be tremendous as we head throughout today. So hopefully everyone is in a safe location right now, because this is just not going to get pretty as the day goes on. It's just going to get uglier and uglier and uglier until the worst of BERYL comes and passes later in the evening. So as I mentioned, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands under that hurricane warning, and BERYL is forecast to weaken even more as it moves to the northwestern Caribbean. So it may still be a hurricane though, as it is going to be making its way to the vicinity of the Yucatan. And then for parts of northern Belize, there is a tropical storm watch in effect. So there's a hurricane watch for the Yucatan of Mexico, and then a tropical storm watch for parts of northern Belize. So we'll have to wait to see what happens with this. And eventually, because BERYL is going to be crossing over land, it should weaken while it moves within this area. But once it heads back into water over the Gulf of Mexico, it could potentially re-strengthen into a hurricane. However, there is a lot of uncertainty in regards to the intensity down the road. But of course, I'll be keeping you posted on that. So that is what we have going on right now for this major hurricane. Again, a Cat 4, which is going to be impacting Jamaica significantly. Impacts have already started with those outer bands, so it's only going to continue to get worse throughout today. So there's likely to be power outages island-wide, so all these preparations are being in place ahead of major hurricane BERYL's impacts, the worst of the impacts, that is. So I'll keep you posted once I can, guys, but that is basically it. Not sure if I'll be able to get another update out for the day. However, I'll try to get some out once I'm able to do so. So I hope you found this video to be informative, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I'll get to you when I have the chance to do so, and remember to always be weatherwise.